How to Talk in English. Lily often felt a pang of frustration when she tried to express herself in English. The words simply wouldn't come, or they stumbled out awkwardly, making her feel incredibly self-conscious. She yearned to speak fluently, to engage in vibrant conversations, and truly connect with others in this global language. Her dream felt miles away, a distant, unreachable star. She had tried various methods, from memorizing grammar rules to drilling vocabulary lists, but nothing seemed to stick effectively. The traditional approach left her feeling overwhelmed and uninspired, extinguishing any sparks of motivation she initially possessed. Lily knew there had to be a more natural, more enjoyable way to acquire English proficiency and truly make it her own. One evening, while browsing online, she stumbled upon a community dedicated to English story reading. Intrigued, Lily decided to give it a try, hoping it might offer a fresh perspective. The idea of learning through engaging narratives suddenly felt incredibly appealing, a stark contrast to her previous dry study routines. This was her first step towards a new path. Her first story was a simple tale, yet it captivated her. She read slowly, looking up unfamiliar words, but primarily focusing on understanding the overall plot. This wasn't about perfect translation, it was about immersion. Lily discovered that English story reading wasn't just a chore, it was an adventure unfolding right before her eyes, fostering genuine interest. The magic truly began when she combined reading with listening. She found audio versions of her favorite stories and played them repeatedly. This blend allowed her to connect written words with their spoken sounds, dramatically improving her pronunciation and intonation. Listening became an integral part of her daily routine, transforming passive learning into active engagement. Initially, listening felt challenging, the words blurring into an indecipherable stream. However, Lily persevered, understanding that consistent exposure was key. She started with simpler audio, gradually progressing to more complex narratives and even podcasts. This constant auditory input trained her ear, making her increasingly comfortable with the natural rhythm of spoken English. The next crucial step was dedicated practice. Lily realized that merely consuming English wasn't enough, she needed to produce it. She started by mimicking dialogues from the stories, repeating phrases aloud, and recording herself. This simple act of speaking, even to herself, built confidence and helped her identify areas for improvement in her articulation. She also found a language exchange partner online, a kind native speaker who was patient and encouraging. Their conversations were initially halting, filled with pauses and corrections, but Lily never gave up. She embraced every mistake as a learning opportunity, knowing that fluency came from consistent, real-world application, not from avoiding errors altogether. Lily learned that how to talk in English wasn't a secret formula, but rather a combination of consistent effort and strategic methods. She understood that speaking was a skill, just like playing an instrument, requiring regular practice and active participation. Her fear of making mistakes gradually diminished as her confidence in expressing herself grew stronger. She began to understand how to learn English in a holistic sense. It wasn't just about grammar or vocabulary in isolation. It was about creating an immersive environment, even if she wasn't living in an English-speaking country. Every book, every podcast, every conversation became a brick in the foundation of her linguistic proficiency. Lily particularly valued why reading is so important. Beyond expanding her vocabulary, reading exposed her to diverse sentence structures, idiomatic expressions, and cultural nuances. It deepened her understanding of how English was used naturally, providing context that isolated word lists could never offer. Reading truly broadened her linguistic horizons significantly. She often chose a very interesting story as her starting point each week. This kept her motivated and eager to continue her learning journey. The emotional connection she formed with characters and plots made the learning process enjoyable, not just a task. Learning became a source of genuine pleasure and intellectual stimulation. For how to learn words, Lily adopted a contextual approach. Instead of memorizing long lists, she focused on understanding words within the stories she read and listened to. She used flashcards for review but always linked words back to their original context, which greatly improved retention and practical application in conversations. She also created personal word banks based on her interests, like cooking or travel. This made learning new vocabulary more relevant and exciting. Lily understood that words were tools for communication, and the more she personalized her learning, the more effectively she could wield them in real-life situations and spontaneous interactions. "Let me tell you talking tips," her language partner often advised. One crucial tip was to embrace speaking imperfectly. Perfection was the enemy of progress. The goal was effective communication, not flawless grammar. This permission to make mistakes liberated Lily, allowing her to speak more freely and spontaneously, without constant self-censorship. Another valuable tip was to describe her daily life in English, even just to herself. She would narrate her morning routine or what she saw on her walk. This internal monologue practice helped her activate vocabulary and grammar structures in a low-pressure environment, preparing her for real conversations with greater ease. How to improve your English became a daily mantra for Lily, not a daunting question. She understood that improvement was a continuous process, not a destination. Each small step, each new word learned, each successful conversation, contributed to her overall progress and boosted her confidence levels considerably over time. Her consistency was unwavering. Even on busy days, she dedicated at least 15 minutes to English, whether it was reading a short article, listening to a song, or practicing a few phrases aloud. These small, consistent efforts accumulated, leading to remarkable progress over weeks and months, demonstrating the power of discipline. Lily started noticing subtle but significant changes. She could follow complex conversations more easily, her listening comprehension had skyrocketed. When people spoke quickly, she no longer felt lost. Instead, she could grasp the main ideas and even pick out specific details, which was an incredible leap forward for her. Her speaking became more natural, less hesitant. She found herself spontaneously forming sentences without translating them word for word in her head. This shift from conscious construction to intuitive expression was a clear sign of growing fluency and comfort with the language, making interactions much more organic and enjoyable. The vocabulary she had acquired through reading and listening now came alive in her conversations. She could access words and phrases much faster, enriching her discussions and allowing her to articulate nuanced ideas. This active recall cemented her learning, showing the practical benefit of her diversified study methods. Lily's journey wasn't without its plateaus, moments when she felt her progress stalled. However, she learned to push through these periods by trying new types of content or revisiting old favorites with a fresh perspective. She understood that learning ebbs and flows, and persistence was the ultimate key. She started watching English movies and TV shows without subtitles, or with English subtitles only. This pushed her listening skills further and exposed her to even more authentic conversational patterns and slang. Immersing herself in popular culture made learning fun and relatable, bridging the gap between textbook English and real-world usage. Active participation in online English forums became another valuable avenue. She would write comments, ask questions, and even help other learners. This not only improved her writing skills but also gave her more opportunities to think in English and engage with a wider community, broadening her horizons considerably. Lily also discovered the power of storytelling herself. She started to narrate her own experiences in English, first in her journal, then eventually to her language partner. This creative outlet forced her to organize her thoughts in English, making her more articulate and confident in spontaneous speech. She realized that English wasn't just a subject to study, it was a tool for connection and self-expression. Every new conversation felt like opening a door to a new world, a new perspective. Her confidence soared, transforming her initial shyness into a genuine eagerness to communicate freely with others. Her initial dream of fluent conversation was no longer a distant star, it was a tangible reality. Lily could now talk about a wide range of topics, share her opinions, and understand complex discussions with ease. The frustration had vanished, replaced by a profound sense of accomplishment and joy. She often reflected on her journey, remembering the early days of struggle. It was a testament to the effectiveness of varied methods, consistent reading, active listening, dedicated speaking practice, and strategic vocabulary acquisition. Her transformation was a powerful example for anyone aspiring to master a new language. Lily realized that learning English was not a race, but a marathon, filled with small victories and continuous improvement. Each step, no matter how tiny, contributed to the bigger picture. This understanding freed her from the pressure of instant perfection, allowing her to enjoy the learning process itself. Her advice to others was always simple: immerse yourself, practice consistently, and embrace mistakes. She emphasized that patience and perseverance were just as important as the specific techniques. The journey was personal, and finding what truly motivated you was paramount for sustained success and enjoyment. The joy of connecting with people from different cultures, sharing stories, and understanding diverse viewpoints became her greatest reward. English had opened up a whole new world of opportunities, both personally and professionally, far beyond what she had initially imagined for herself when she first started. She even started helping other learners, sharing her insights and encouraging them. Lily believed that every person could achieve fluency with the right mindset and consistent application of effective strategies. Her own success was a beacon of hope and inspiration for those beginning their linguistic journey anew. How to talk in English truly began with letting go of fear. Lily understood that speaking was the ultimate goal, and even if her sentences weren't perfect, the act of attempting communication was invaluable. Every spoken word was a step closer to natural, confident expression and fluent dialogue. She meticulously tracked her progress, celebrating small milestones. Whether it was understanding a joke in a movie or holding a 5-minute conversation without stumbling, these victories fueled her motivation. Recognizing her own growth kept her engaged and enthusiastic about continuing her English learning adventure daily. English story reading remained a cornerstone of her method. It was not just for vocabulary, but for understanding narrative flow and character development. Stories provided a natural context for language, making learning an intuitive process rather than a purely analytical one, which was incredibly effective for her. Lily found that listen and practice went hand in hand. She couldn't effectively practice speaking without first filling her mind with authentic English sounds and rhythms. The more she listened, the more naturally she could reproduce the language, bridging the gap between reception and production effortlessly. Her approach to how to learn English evolved over time, becoming more personalized and effective. She realized there was no one-size-fits-all answer, but rather a combination of techniques tailored to individual learning styles and preferences. This adaptability was crucial for long-term commitment and success. Lily stressed that why reading is so important extended beyond mere comprehension. It cultivated critical thinking skills in English, allowing her to analyze complex ideas and form opinions. Reading empowered her not just to consume information but to truly engage with it deeply and meaningfully. She discovered that choosing a very interesting story wasn't just for enjoyment, it also provided a deeper emotional hook. This emotional connection made vocabulary and grammar more memorable. The brain naturally retains information better when it's linked to vivid experiences and compelling narratives that resonate deeply. When pondering how to learn words, Lily advised learners to use new words immediately. If she learned a new phrase, she would try to incorporate it into her next conversation or written exercise. Active application cemented the vocabulary in her memory, ensuring it wasn't just passively stored. "Let me tell you talking tips," she would share. "Start small. Describe your day. Talk to pets. Record yourself." The act of speaking, no matter how silly it feels initially, builds muscle memory for your tongue and mouth. Consistency in these small acts leads to monumental progress over time. Lily's transformation embodied how to improve your English. It wasn't about finding a magic bullet but rather about consistent effort, embracing diverse learning methods, and cultivating a growth mindset. Her journey proved that fluency was achievable for anyone willing to put in the dedicated work. The initial fear of mispronunciation vanished as she gained confidence. She learned that clear communication was more important than perfect articulation. Her focus shifted from avoiding errors to effectively conveying her message, which significantly reduced performance anxiety and made speaking much more enjoyable. Her ability to switch between listening and speaking seamlessly improved dramatically. She could listen to a question and formulate a response almost instantaneously, a stark contrast to her earlier days of slow, labored translation. This fluidity was a clear sign of increasing cognitive processing speed. Lily found immense joy in exploring new genres of stories, from science fiction to historical dramas. Each new story presented unique vocabulary and cultural contexts, continually expanding her linguistic repertoire. This constant novelty kept her engaged and prevented any sense of monotony in her learning. She even joined a local English book club, pushing herself to discuss literature in a group setting. This real-world application of her skills was invaluable, forcing her to articulate complex thoughts and engage in spontaneous debate. It was both challenging and incredibly rewarding for her. The ripple effect of her English proficiency extended into her professional life. New career opportunities opened up, and she found herself able to collaborate with international colleagues with ease. English became not just a hobby but a powerful tool for global connectivity and career advancement. Her understanding of humor, sarcasm, and subtle social cues in English also deepened. This cultural immersion made her interactions richer and more authentic. She wasn't just speaking the words, she was truly understanding the unspoken layers of communication, bridging cultural divides effectively. Lily's journey demonstrated that English learning is a profound personal growth experience. It builds resilience, patience, and a global perspective. The language unlocked not only new conversations but also new facets of her own personality, making her a more confident and versatile individual. She continued to advocate for active learning. Passive consumption of media was a start, but true mastery came from actively engaging with the language, speaking, writing, and applying it in real-world scenarios. This proactive approach was the cornerstone of her remarkable success story. Her story became an inspiration for many others who felt stuck in their English learning journey. Lily's example showed that with dedication and the right strategies, anyone could transform their English skills from basic comprehension to confident, fluent communication, opening up new horizons. The power of English story reading for vocabulary acquisition and comprehension cannot be overstated, serving as the bedrock of Lily's initial progress. Stories provided a natural, engaging context for new words and phrases, making them far more memorable than isolated definitions. This organic learning approach truly fueled her rapid development. Listen and practice formed the dynamic duo of her learning strategy. By consistently listening to authentic English, she developed an ear for rhythm and intonation. This auditory input then directly informed her speaking practice, allowing her to mimic native pronunciation and gain a more natural flow in her own conversations. Her tailored approach to how to learn English ultimately defined her success. She understood that generic advice might not apply to everyone, so she experimented tirelessly to discover what resonated with her unique learning style. This personalized method made her journey sustainable and incredibly effective long-term. Lily's conviction in why reading is so important stemmed from its ability to build a comprehensive understanding of the language. Beyond words, reading exposed her to cultural context, rhetorical devices, and diverse perspectives, transforming her from a mere speaker into a truly cultured communicator across various subjects. The concept of picking a very interesting story was not merely a suggestion for Lily, it was a fundamental principle. Personal interest ensured sustained motivation, making the learning process feel less like a chore and more like an engaging hobby, fostering deep emotional investment in her studies. Her strategy for how to learn words involved active recall and immediate application. She never just passively learned words, she used them in sentences, tried them in conversation, or wrote them down in her journal. This practical engagement solidified vocabulary, making it readily available for spontaneous use. "Let me tell you talking tips," Lily often shared, emphasizing the importance of brave attempts. "Don't wait for perfection. Just speak. Every sound you make, every word you utter, is a step towards fluency. The more you speak, the more natural it becomes, fostering unstoppable progress." Ultimately, Lily's journey perfectly illustrates how to improve your English through dedication, strategic immersion, and a positive mindset. Her transformation from struggling learner to confident speaker serves as a powerful testament to the effectiveness of embracing stories, listening, practicing, and daring to speak out loud.